So, there's almost never any justification as to why someone decides to take their own life. But try not to think of death as just a quick decision for those who suffer, because it's really not. It's more of a long conversation. It's like an argument. And some people think that depression is just feeling sad, and that it's just crying. That it's just tears and tears, a typical late-night mental breakdown pre-AP World exam. But that's not the reality of it all. Because it's not just sadness. That's the veil depression puts on to cover the doorway to its hell. It's feeling numb. Imagine never wanting to get out of bed. It's knowing that you have things to do but choosing to stay in bed instead and not do anything because you just can't. And it's not that you want to, but you just can't. Your body isn't letting you. The minutes turn into hours and the hours turn into days. You don't wake up to live. You can wake up to go back to sleep. Explaining what depression is like is sort of like explaining what color looks like to a blind person. Here, let me put it this way. Depression is an ocean. It's an ocean of hatred and insecurity. It washes away at the brink of your existence. It chips at marble stones that assemble the solid foundation of your mind. Think of it as a swamp. The long branches from silent trees rise up from the ashes that you've burned them too long ago and wrap themselves around you. They drag you down, deep into the unknown. And you are underwater. You are oblivious to the world around you. And you have been here before. It's just that you've forgotten how to get out. That's depression. Some of you might be familiar with depression's malicious accomplice. Anxiety. You can't breathe. The unforgiving, swampy water has found a way to lodge down your nostrils and throat, wrapping its hands around your lungs, drowning you. You can't scream because more water would force its way in. You try so hard to swim up to the surface. You are kicking and kicking, pushing the water down, but with every attempt you become more and more tired. And you do it. You've reached the surface, and you've taken a breath. And you get dragged back down. This endless cycle just keeps repeating itself. It's torture. But that's just one analogy. So, depression sucks ass. That's the best way to put it. So does anxiety. So imagine having both. Having anxiety and depression is like being scared and tired at the same time. It's the fear of failure, but no urge to be productive. It's wanting to be alone, but not wanting to be lonely. It's feeling everything at once and then feeling paralyzingly numb. And just to set the record, I'm not saying this as a way for you to feel sorry about anybody who feels like this, because the last thing we need is for people to look at us as victims, as incapable beings whose life surrounds this fact. And we don't want people pitying our existence or wanting to treat us as fragile, because we're really not. It can be anybody. It can even be you. And on that note, I'd like to share a personal anecdote. Anxiety fucking sucks. It's the worst thing in the fucking world. I just need to get off my chest. Like, I'd be sitting in class sometimes actually shaking for no fucking reason from how nervous I am. Maybe it's just the coffee enhancing my already constantly in stress feeling, but I'd get a horrible stomach ache and feel like someone had thinned the air. Like somebody was taking it away from me, and my heart would palpitate. There are literally no reasons to be nervous, and I am. Another example. Sometimes I get nightmares. I wake up at 3 a.m. in a cold sweat with my heart racing, just having forgotten what the dream was about and not being able to go back to sleep. And I'd be frozen there, in the middle of the night with my eyes stuck staring at the ceiling, chest shaking. And I don't go back to sleep. And worrying. I hate it. I worry about worrying. I also worry about not worrying. If there's something that I'm not worrying about, there's something wrong. And I worry that I'm worrying too much and that I'm going to die, that there's no point in living on planet Earth because one day we're all going to die, and that my consciousness is going to turn into nothing, and that it doesn't matter what my grades are or who I meet or whether or not I try to be a good person while others don't, because we're all going to turn into stardust. And then there's happiness. It comes sometimes. Those days are golden. I'm not saying that there never is happiness. There definitely is, and those days feel so high that you wonder if they're steeper than your lows. And then there's the real kicker. People ask, aren't you afraid of dying? No, I'm afraid of living. And it seems like there's no end to it all. But then, there's you. Yes, you. That person. Your smile. Your kind words. You always ask, are you okay? And not in the way in which you expect them to reply, I'm good, or the same, I'm tired, and just politely nod or smile, but in which you actually ask them if everything going on inside of their skulls is going 100% fine. You genuinely care, and it doesn't matter the person. Maybe it could even be someone who has done you wrong, but you actually care. It is without failure that every time someone has asked me, are you okay? And I don't at least start to feel like I'm going to cry. Because seeing people actually fucking care about me makes me feel like I'm going to melt into a weird pool of sadness and just complete happiness. Jesus Christ, there have been 3 incidents within the year in which my teachers have asked me if everything was fine, and it took 100% of my strength to not burst out into tears in front of them. Turns out that I suck at doing that because I lost it 2 out of the 3 times. Another example of people. I'd be sitting in the middle of math class sometimes trying to stay awake and stop thinking about how great it'd be to hang myself in the bathroom while trying to finish my freaking math sheet when this kid next to me makes some dumb joke. And it actually makes me genuinely smile, and I feel a little less sad for a while. He's not even that close of a friend of mine, but I can say without a doubt that people like that makes life worth living 100 times more. There used to be this girl who sat behind me before the class switched seats during chemistry who would always ask if I was okay when I looked sad. Most of the times I'd respond with some stupid, edgy joke, and she'd laugh back. I really liked the feeling I got when I knew that I made someone else laugh. There were a bunch of funny kids in that class, actually. It's insane how 40 minutes can change your entire mood for the day. And there's this girl who pretty much listens to me rant about whatever I want, which is very therapeutic. She's super funny and kind and totally a dork. She's the only one who listened when I tried to get a bunch of people to watch an anime that I'm obsessed with called JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. She's honest, genuine, and strong. From the bottom of my heart, I love her. She's one of my bestest friends. I hope you have someone like her too, because you're not alone in this struggle. And if you don't suffer from anxiety or depression, great. It's your duty to become that person. The person who asks if someone is okay twice, the person who goes the extra mile, the person who tries their best to make others laugh, and the person who listens and gives good advice. And if you're not that person, that's okay too. You're emerging. It's a little out of your comfort zone, but that doesn't mean that you don't care. Of course you do. It's human nature. And try to be as nice as possible to everyone you come across. Sometimes it slips and you say the wrong thing every once in a while, but don't beat yourself up. There's only a problem once you don't apologize. It's never too late to apologize. If you honestly think that more than a selective few of the population are either annoying or complete assholes, you're wrong. Maybe I'm privileged enough to have this mindset, and some people live in places in the world where this really is the case, but I guarantee that if you saw how many people out there who are willing to love and spend time with you and be amazing, you would actually cry from how many people there are. And for the depressed and anxious, it's going to be okay. Keep plugging in those headphones and listening to music with your hoodie on. The only thing that has separated me from life and death has been the music that I listen to. Those lyrics and that beat has convinced me that I'm worth it. It has saved my life. It told me that I'm beautiful and amazing and irreplaceable when nobody else could convince me. It told me that my life was precious, that it would make me believe that I was lovely. And cry. Cry often. I find that crying makes you feel better and clears your mind. And lastly, hug people more often. You have no idea how much they might need one. And boys, I know that you guys don't like to hug much, but do it. Guys crave physical affection just as much as girls. I'm not saying that either one of these things will cure depression or anxiety. I'm not saying that if you don't do any of these things that you're a bad person, and I'm not saying that depression and anxiety comes in these forms. Everybody feels it differently. It's a physical illness caused by imbalances in your head. And if you're one of those people who think that being happy is a choice, I applaud you for making an effort on figuring out a way to cure mental illnesses. But it's not that easy. It's seriously insulting when people think that it's that simple, or that I want to be miserable and sad. That it's not serious, that it's not that bad, that it'll pass, that it's not as bad as other people, that I could never have that happening to me. That same mindset has kept me from getting help, and many others too. Because it is serious. It's not normal to think about jumping in front of traffic every time you walk to school. Stay alive, friend. I love you. Everybody watching this, I love you. I probably don't know you that well, and you probably know me as that kid who just sat and watched the entire class while occasionally raising my hand, but I can tell you without a doubt that there's at least one thing that I have to say about you, and that it's good.
If I could begin to be